Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the webinar, Securing Grocery Retail for the Future. Before we dive in, just a little bit of housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded and we will distribute the recording alongside the slides to all registered participants shortly after the webinar. Participants are in listen-only mode during this webinar, so the way to ask questions is to type your questions into the questions panel in the webinar console. Please type any questions as we go through the webinar, and we will then aim to answer your questions in order during the Q&A part towards the end of the session. Your questions and their respective answers will then be a part of the content we will send out shortly after the webinar. So, with all that done, welcome to the webinar. My name is David Joyce, and I'm LS Retail's Senior Sales Executive for the UK and Ireland. It's great to have such a strong turnout today, and it's perhaps a reflection of interest in the retail and grocery landscape at quite a pivotal moment for the industry. As many of you will be well aware, the global retail and grocery sector has seen a sharp rise in digital threats in recent months, a trend that shows no signs of slowing. High-profile ransomware attacks on major retailers, including Marks & Spencer, Co-op and Harrods, have underscored a critical reality. Retailers worldwide can no longer afford to treat cybersecurity and customer experience as separate priorities. The two are now intrinsically linked. In light of these disruptions, we've seen a significant rise in inquiries from forward-thinking businesses looking to safeguard their operations, modernize their tech stack, and stay one step ahead. And that's why we're here today, to share how LS Central, our Microsoft-powered all-in-one retail solution, is uniquely positioned to support grocery and convenience retailers across the globe. We want to walk you through how LS Central and LS Pay supports end-to-end retail operations with simplicity and control, how Microsoft SaaS infrastructure strengthens your security posture, and most importantly, how you can prepare your organization for a more resilient, secure future. You'll hear directly from our experts today with real-world insight from recent projects and product updates shaped by retailers and partners alike. So this is how we'll spend the next hour. Shortly, I'll introduce Dali Carlson, our Chief Technical Officer, and he will walk us through security in retail and how Microsoft Business Central SaaS provides that best-in-class protection. Then we'll hear from Mark Wilson, one of our senior consultants at LS Retail, and he'll showcase LS Central for Grocery. This is our all-in-one solution tailored to modern retail needs. Then Peter Sigurdsson, our Product Director for E-commerce and LS Pay, will talk briefly about secure payments with LS Pay. Then, as mentioned, we'll open the floor for your questions and do a live Q&A. With that, let's dive in. I'm going to hand over now to Dadi, who will walk us through security in retail. Over to you, Dadi.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dadi Carlson. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at LS Retail. I want to run you through some of the cloud and security aspects of Business Central and LS Central. For you who don't know, Business Central is a ERP that is a part of the Microsoft Dynamics 365 family. And we at LS Retail built our IP, the LS Central solution, on top of this platform. Now, Business Central is a very popular platform, has over 40,000 businesses using their online version, which we sometimes call Business Central SaaS. And Business Central was awarded the Best Cloud ERP of the year 2024 by Ford magazine. Now, if we dive in regarding the availability and SaaS features, obviously this is a cloud application, which means that it's available anywhere at any time using just a browser, for example. And since it's a SaaS application, it has a lower capital expenditure than traditional on-prem licensing. We're going to cover the data and security compliance in a separate slide. but one of the sort of best aspects of it is the continuous update policy. I mean, there are 2 major feature updates every year. Those are in April and October. And in between that, there are monthly service packs. There are hot fixes as required, both from the application side and the platform side. Basically, it means that you're always up to date. You're never running an outdated platform or outdated code base that could be vulnerable to cyber attacks. What we particularly like about LS Central and Business Central as a combination is that it's a one solution. You're not merging, 10 different systems with, the associated integrations. It's one platform, it's one ERP system with retail built in. So you don't need to manage all of these integrations, and it makes the overview and compliance much, much easier than if you were running 10 or 15 separate applications. Now, on the security side, this is where Microsoft has been investing heavily in the last years. I think we should run over these very briefly because these are top of mind when it comes to application and cybersecurity. Now, the SOC 2 and SOC 1 type certifications basically deal with the effectiveness of services organizations regarding availability, processing integrity, confidentiality, and privacy. And the SOC 1 type 2, this is the certification that deals with the effectiveness of a service organization's internal controls over financial reporting over a given period. So this is more on the financial and process control side. And on the ISO side, this is, first we start with the 27001. This is the standard for managing information security through a systematic approach to protect sensitive data. And the 17 provides a guideline for cloud-specific information. And the 18 focuses on protecting personally identifiable information in public cloud environments. So why am I mentioning this here? Basically because everything that we build on top of Business Central inherit these certifications. So we at LS Retail, we follow the best practices in regarding to the software development lifecycle on top of Business Central, which means that everything that we build on top of the platform inherits these certifications. Now, from a sort of security aspect, everything that we do on this platform is secured, even if you, so basically and encrypted. So even if you get a copy of database, there's basically nothing you can do because the database is encrypted and no data is accessible. Now, Microsoft is responsible for the platform security, meaning that everything related to platform APIs, for example, use the best practices within the software development lifecycle. Now, we obviously follow these practices in our lifecycle as well, and we encourage our customers to do so as well, customers and partners. Now, this is only the cloud-based aspect of this. Obviously, we recommend that customers use something along the lines of device management platform like Microsoft Intune to manage their devices. Intune and the other alternatives out there are services that enable organizations to manage and secure devices, across various platforms and across various applications. So it's a super helpful tool for IT professionals to make sure that the POS devices, for example, are secure, up to date, and are following the relevant security policies. And if you are aiming for certifications like the one above, like the ISO certifications or PCI DSS, this is a requirement as a part of the process. But all in all, this is a super secure platform. There's never been a breach on Microsoft Business Central. And we think this is a fantastic business platform for retailers, and especially in grocery, to build their operations on. Now, just a few words about data centers and regions. I'm showing here a map of the data centers in the UK. There are 2 sort of major availability zones in the UK. That's the one in Cardiff and one in London. And basically, it means that if the services in one availability zones are unavailable, the processing will shift to the other one. And to dive a bit deeper into this one, well, we can see how this is done in Germany. It's a similar structure. We have one in west and one in the north. But if we look at how this is done from a practical point of view, then and compare this to the typical on-prem structure. So a typical on-prem structure would look something like this. You would have, one, maybe two high availability databases. This could be hosted in, your own offices or data center of choice. So there is a, certain redundancy built into the platform. You can sort of break the mirror if you need to update one database, but overall, if one database fails, the processing can shift to the other one. In SaaS, we are looking at a totally different story. By default, every single transaction that happens in the SaaS environment is written into 4 separate databases. And these 4 separate databases are spread over, 3 separate data centers. The first 2, SQL 1 and SQL 2, are in the same data center. SQL 3 is stored in the second data center within the same region. And SQL 4 is stored in the third data center in the second region. So you have to have a major disaster, natural disaster, to knock all of these data centers offline and be unable to process any, do any data processing. And the switch, if something fails, that's automatic. That's not something that the users need to be aware of. This happens behind the scenes, and Microsoft is responsible for the uptime and running this. The SLA for the service is 99.9%, but in real terms, this is close to 99.99%. So the uptime for these platforms and services is quite good. Just to note that the platform itself is auto-scaling, meaning that if the database utilization goes over a certain limit, the pool that runs the database services gets more resources allocated to it. And same with the service tiers. If the service tier utilization goes above a certain utilization, I think it's around 70%, it gets more resources allocated to it. So again, there's no manual intervention here. This all happens behind the scenes, and it's a part of the sort of platform auto-scaling capabilities. Now, when it comes to performance, we think this is a quite performant solution. Last year, when we did the performance measurements, we were running around 50,000 transactions per hour per environment, and you can, add as many environments as you like. But due to some performance tuning and a new hardware refresh in the Microsoft data centers, when we do these tests this year, we're close to 100,000 transactions per hour. And this is tested with 450 POSs. They're all running concurrently in the same company. And again, if you need, 900 POSs, then you just add another environment and then you're up and running. So I think we have a quite scalable, secure, and performant platform, which we are super happy to be building our IP on top of. I think next in line is Mark Wilson, and I'm gonna switch over to him, and he's gonna tell us more about the sort of grocery aspect of the LS Central solution. Mark?
Hello. So yes, Mark Wilson. I'm a senior consultant at LS Retail. I've been with the company just over 5 years. Prior to that, I worked at an LS partner for 23 years implementing retail. I just want to go through some of the ways that we can actually support the grocery sector. Top challenges for retailers at the moment. So controlling costs to actually increase profitability, trying to increase customer engagement and retention when customers are actually now moving to lower prices being the point rather than brand loyalty, getting the product right mix with constant changing in customer habits, and adding in-demand services like ready meal delivery or ready-to-make food. These are all issues that they have at the moment, and also with CIOs. So problems have to do with creating realistic and effective data analytics and AI strategy. As Danny was talking, protecting the organization from security. actually demonstrating that IT has a business value within the system, and also upscaling and reskilling employees. Now, the study said if you have ERP or LS Retail as your ecosystem, you don't have a number of disparate systems integrating together, which cuts down on potential security risk. It also means, from a support point of view, the staff only have one system that they need to learn and support, which is obviously an advantage. So we've seen in the last month or so quite a few news about cyber attacks that are hitting the UK businesses, not just grocery. I mean, there have been others as well. But this can have a serious consequence on their reputation, on their margins. I know personally that Co-op is my local store, but I don't go there anymore because they didn't have any food. So I now land up going to another store because I know they'll always have stock. So LS Retail, we're a world-leading provider of unified software for retail, hospitality, food services, for Co-op businesses of all sizes, with over 30 years of experience in retail. We have a global customer base of over 110,000 stores in 157 countries. And if we look at our retail customers by industry, you'll see that grocery actually makes up quite a large percentage of our customer base. And IDC, which is the sort of ICT's industry's premier vendor assessment tool, according to their website, actually mentioned LS Retail as being a major player in grocery. So it's not just us that say we're quite good. So from the very beginning, grocery stores, supermarkets, and have been one of our key verticals. And we've worked closely with numerous customers to understand their specific needs and how LS Central can meet those needs and requirements. Based on these insights, we've incorporated features that are, we think, critical for this vertical. Today, I want to highlight how we're supporting the groceries and supermarket convenience store sectors. This includes showing some of our long-standing features in our solution, as well as introducing some new and exciting developments that we're working on. This is where I think that LS shines, in offering an in-store experience for the retailers and their customers. We asked some of our grocery retailers that have been using our solution how LS Central can enable them to run a successful grocery store. Looking for the solution set we have and how we can make this work for them. These are a few of the things that they like to highlight. So managing your stock efficiently with mobile inventory. This is their store management in one handy place where they can do picking, counting, ordering, and quite a few other things on handheld devices anywhere in the store. And this serves as one of their key factors in helping their employees manage their store. It supports the high movement of goods, helping retailers monitor and understand their stock levels, can help them prevent having out of stock situations. And of course, having a device in the hand of the store staff to do those functions actually on the shop floor leads to greater efficiency. Now, mobile inventory has been around for quite a while, but we've been working very closely with the grocery retailers to improve it. So one of the things to mention is items not on file when you're doing counting. So if you come across an item the system doesn't think should be there, you now have the ability to scan it and write a description against it, so it gets counted, and then someone can sort that out in the back office later. You can now switch counting areas with QR codes. You can also show and control extra information that is actually shown on the handhelds about the item. And last year, we added in RFID support. So if you've got the right device, you can use RFID tags as part of your mobile inventory app. And that's not all of it. There's been a lot of additional things done, like changing the unit measure on an item and receiving, better sorting, and a number of other things. One example of how we learn from our customers, Cornets is a supermarket chain spanning about 35 stores based in Australia. They're all about fast-moving goods and fresh produce. They've been using LS mobile inventory and LS Central for their day-to-day operations for a long time, and it's a very important part of the process. Their partners provide us with input on what can be done better in the app to help us improve it for the grocery vertical. And we just started work with them on upgrading them to SaaS, where they can continue to use mobile inventory. There are more than 300 customers using the mobile inventory app with more than 10,000 devices in use. So, electronic shelf labels. So, ESLs, or electronic shelf labels, are crucial for grocery stores and fast-moving consumer sectors where prices can change frequently. And it's essential for stores to implement these price changes quickly and efficiently. Historically, we've recommended customers use normal label printing, so they print out a shelf edge label and then that gets taken to store. While it's tried and tested, and we've done numbers of modifications to try and make this as robust as possible, it still relies on somebody physically putting the shelf label onto this, the label onto the shelf at the right time. So, recognizing that as a critical area for improvement, we're developing and implementing an integration with one of our partners, or an ESL provider, Pricer. So this integration is based on web services, and this is going to be coming into the standard product. So this will now be a base that other ESL vendors can use to integrate with LS Central. Furthermore, some of our partners have also been developing additional integrations. We've seen integrations ready with Vue, Cyberattacks, and Solemn. So Bonus. One of our customers in Iceland, Bonus, has been using ESL's integration with LS Central for over 20 years, which was using the old text-based files. Now they have moved now to a new web service-based integration, and this is what they and their partner have granted us the right to do and will be included in the LS Central version later this year. So for Bonus, who are a high-end discount retailer, the ability to update prices frequently without interruption is a fundamental part of their business. They take pride in offering their consumers even the lowest possible prices in the market, and this capability is crucial for their success. It can't be stressed enough how important this is for them to have the ESLs updated correctly and for the prices reflected on the point of sale immediately, to ensure that the prices displayed to the customer and those on the POS are in sync. A very important thing for grocery stores is processing more sales faster and reducing the lines of the queues of people waiting. So, fast POS. Our point of sale has been the basis of the retail solution, and is robust and reliable in its design. And it's done with the aim of delivering a solution for the retailers that is fast and just works. We've made a number of improvements and refactoring of the point of sale to make it faster and more robust. This will remain one of our key goals for the coming versions, to make sure that we're testing the throughput and its availability to transact in a fast way. Even though there have been some great improvements to the speed of the SaaS solution, a number of retailers, especially in grocery and supermarkets, require an offline point of sale. Having a solution that's running offline does decrease delays in communication, and can mean that the POS can run extremely fast, but then you have the complexity around how do you maintain the POS software to ensure that it's also up to date, because the SaaS will be updated automatically, but the point of sale needs to be updated as well. Now, this is where we've come out with new features. So we have now web replication using Azure services rather than our tried and trusted data director, and also the ability to run update service as an Azure service. Now, for those that don't know it, update service will actually maintain the software versions and update those in a very similar way to the Microsoft update that you get on your laptop. The client will check to see whether it needs to be updated, and if it does, it will within a certain time frame. So, best testimonials. Our current customers that are using LS Central in everyday operations. The first example is from the Nesto Group in the Middle East, who are running more than 100 stores in multiple countries. And they said that customers spend many hours browsing the store, but they're not willing to wait a long time for a checkout queue. With LS Central, we have faster checkout speeds. Secondly, Super Selectos, they're running 115 supermarkets around El Salvador. And they say that they've witnessed a 30% increase in transactions per hour. Then we have Anglo-Sar, they're running 80 cash and carry warehouse stores in Angola, and they're very happy with the improved efficiency. And finally, Nori supermarkets in Saudi Arabia, they've stated that the time for a single transaction is reduced by about 50%. One of the other areas is giving the customers the freedom to check out how they prefer. Traditional checkouts, self-checkouts, and scan, pay and go. So a big part of our journey and focus of the device team within LS has been to deliver better ways to enable self-checkouts and self-service. Firstly, we've now created web service support for third-party vendors like Nixor, PartnerTech, and NCR. Secondly, customers are configuring the POS layouts on the self-checkouts because not everyone wants the standard checkout process. They want to be able to configure it to meet their own particular needs. As part of that process, we've been trying to create a standardized self-checkout process with some standard POS templates as well as a complete process. The development team have created 12 ethics to describe the process, and they are in the process of developing against it to create a more complete and detailed self-checkout experience for LS Central. This will be released in October in version 27. But that won't be the end of it. We will continue to work with our customers to improve this even further. So here you can see a setup of the PartnerTech self-checkouts for one of our customers, Netto, in Iceland, along with, there we go, a custom-made LS Central layout running at an airport in Norway. We discussed a bit about Scan Pay in previous webinars and events. It's been on the market for a few years. It's an easy to use loyalty app branded with the customer's retail name, logo, colors, designed for the modern shopper to use on their mobile phone. You can finalize the full sale process on the app, but what we've seen is that it can also work perfectly as a loyalty app. We have two cases in use, one of our favorite references, Bonus in Iceland, as well as a household retailer in Denmark that are using it for their loyalty club. We believe this is one area where our customers, in a relatively simple and fast way, can help with the engagement with their customers. So if we take the example of Bonus, what's interesting with Bonus is they decided to use a standard retail-owned device for the scanning around the shop in the same way that you go to Tesco's or Sainsbury's. But what they are doing is using our app to authenticate the customer on the handheld. Also, they've added the ability that you can add that directly into the wallet on Apple and Google. They also use the map so that the customers can find the nearest stores, and also the ability to have shopping lists, and also to have your transaction history, so you can see all the previous transactions that you've done at this store. They use these data and devices integrated into LS Central for the customer to scan the items into the basket, and then the customer then goes to the checkout and retrieves the basket and continues with the self-checkout. Loyalty. There are many features in LS Central that rely on our member management, including some of the ones we talked about today. Loyalty management with LS Central is based on that module, and it gives the retailers the ability to manage the loyalty in the store. In most cases, that functionality is provided to fill the needs of the retail grocers. But we do recognise there are some additional solutions that are managed better within, or manage the interaction and communication with customers better. So we have actually created an integration to one of those for Yodo. In those cases, Yodo takes care of the interaction with the customer outside of the store. LS Central manages the interaction within the store. Decrease waste and grow revenue. So best before management, Cooper function printing, and Scan Pay Go. Best before date. One of the special functionalities that we've added recently is the ability to handle best before date better at the POS. So this is based on the GS1 data bar codes. It is primarily for the sale. What it does give you the ability to do is actually, without relabeling anything, you can set offers based on best before dates. And also you can prevent the POS from selling anything that it scans that is out of date. So a message will couple with the POS saying that, sorry, this item is out of date. Coupon voucher printing. So historically, we've supported the use of coupons and vouchers for dealing with items that are going out of date or have a short shelf life. And this is fine for actually reducing the price, but you do lose all visibility then of what are the items that you are more frequently selling out of date. So we've been developing, in cooperation with one of our customers in Iceland, an extension that can enable the customers to actually create their own yellow labels. So they can now print these out, put them on the table, and therefore you can start tracking more the items that you're having to give discounts to because of you're running short on the date. Also, in the next version of LS Central, we're going to release the ability to request these being printed from the mobile inventory app. So you can go scan an item, it says it's short dated, therefore you can say, right, I need to print out a label for this. Easily managing high transaction volumes. Processing high transaction volumes has always been a crucial factor in grocery stores over the years. LS Central has been architected with this in mind, and along with the Microsoft team has made significant improvements in scalability of our solution. As Daddy said earlier, through load testing the POS in SaaS, we've now actually seen that we can get up to 100,000 transactions an hour running on 450 POS. These improvements that we in Microsoft have been making ensure that our system can handle higher transactional volumes more efficiently than ever. Additionally, we've optimize the statement posting by introducing parallel statement posting to the existing proven methods of batch posting. So batch posting. If we think about batch posting, its functionality is known. It's been around for a long time in LS Central. And as the name suggests, it's all about processing significant chunks of data in batches. This can be configured to run out or inside the hours of operation, statements, purchases, receiving. Now, if batch posting isn't allowing you to actually post through all of your statements within the time frame that you require, what we've actually offer now is parallel statement posting. That means that the statements are posted through multiple batches in parallel. This is another feature that we've launched in recent years that we've seen has been a great help to our grocery customers. It complements the batch posting process and is available for the statement posting. Our customers can configure this in the back office, so they can decide whether they want to use parallel posting or not, and they can also define how many parallel streams they want to run at any one time, and then they can monitor the progress and the performance of these posting services. Another area which adds complications in the grocery or anywhere we have a high transactional volume is around the inventory posting. So the posting of the adjust cost and post cost to GL. So what we've done here is for customers with an extensive item list, multiple stores and a high transaction volume, aggregated inventory consolidates the inventory transaction from multiple stores into a single aggregated location, therefore reducing the number of item ledger entries and speeding up the processes like the adjust costs and the post inventory costs. Also, it also has the added benefit of improving statement posting. You don't lose any of the detailed information that is still available behind the scenes. So you're not sacrificing any level of detail. And we have reports specifically designed for those details to make sure that our customers have the information they need. One other area is in replenishment. One of the previous challenges with replenishment was where we had high volumes of transactions. The calculation time for the replenishment process is directly dependent on the number of items, variants, and locations to be calculated. That calculation could be quite time consuming, especially for grocery, where you have a large number of items and locations involved. That time for the calculation can be improved using parallel calculation. The concept is run the out of stock, the replenishment item quantity, and the replenishment journal calculation in parallel. So the items are split and shared across multiple sessions, so they're calculated parallel to speed up this process. This is another example of where we at LS have listened to challenges of our customers, in this case, handling large volumes of data, and provided solutions for them. These examples show how we are tackling the high volume of transactions and data associated with grocery stores in the back office part of the solution, and we will continue to make these efforts. Microsoft has also been improving the BC platform, both the solution itself as well as the infrastructure. We have examples in our large grocery and fast moving customers where they are handling hundreds of thousands of transactions a day and posting a few million item ledger entries with these improved processes. I just wanted today just to give you an insight of how LS Central has tailored the functionality towards the fast-moving consumer goods vertical to support grocery stores, supermarkets, and convenience stores. This is just an overview. If you need more detailed information about these topics, I'm more than happy to provide with you some more information or point you to the right contacts that can answer your questions. And that is the end of my piece. So I will now hand you over to Peter.
Very good. So, hello everyone, my name is Pétur Þór Sigurðsson, Product Director for our payments offering here at LS Retail. And I'm going to discuss briefly secure payments with LS Pay. Now, for those of you who are new to LS Pay is our payment solution for LS Central, where we offer out-of-the-box payment integrations to the leading payment service providers in our main market regions. And the objective is to give our merchants the flexibility to choose between a wide variety of suitable PSPs. Now, LS Pay comes pre-installed with all deployments of LS Central, so it's very easy to get started, allowing you basically to have a connected PIN pad in a matter of minutes. Now, since the onset of LS Pay, we have now built close to 70 integrations to various PSPs globally. And here we can see as an example some of the supported PSPs in the UK and Ireland. And as you might recognize, here we have some of the industry household names when it comes to payments. But with all of them, there is a common running theme, which is that security is of utmost importance. So in essence, all of these PSPs, all of our PSPs, they are PCI DSS compliant. They all implement their PCI validated encryption mechanisms, now whether that's point-to-point or end-to-end. They all enforce their fraud detection strategies, and they all actively maintain their security certifications, now whether that's SOC 1 or SOC 2, or for example, the ISO 27001, the internationally recognized security and reliability standard. And then on top of this, the PSPs, they also issue security guidelines for merchants, such as guiding them on how to maintain an inventory of active and inactive payment terminals, and then what to do if a device is lost or stolen. They guide on how to prevent skimming, ensuring that criminals can't obtain card data or the card holder's PIN entries. They guide on how to prevent from device tampering, making sure that malicious actors cannot access or hack the payment terminals, and amongst other valid in-store measures. And basically, as I said earlier, with our PSPs, security is of utmost importance, which is indeed a concept that we, of course, carry over to our payment solution, LS Pay. Now, with LS Pay, we ensure that our merchants will always be outside of scope for any PCI-related vulnerabilities, and our merchants will always be out of scope for any costly PCI-related certifications. And how do we achieve that? Well, first of all, just as we learned, we only partner up with PSPs that come PCI certified. And secondly, we integrate to our PSPs in what's called a semi-integrated manner, which is perhaps best explained by an example of what actually happens when LS Pay communicates with a payment terminal. So let's take an example. Let's say that we're in a grocery store and we need to do a card authorization for £100. And in this case, LS Pay will simply send a purchase request to the PIN pad. And from that moment onwards, LS Pay is completely oblivious as to what is happening on the device. And with that, LS Pay, or basically what transpires is that LS Pay is completely shielded from any knowledge of, for example, whether a card was tapped, swiped, or if it was inserted, or if someone tapped their phone, or perhaps tapped their smartwatch. And in fact, LS Pay is then equally as shielded from any processes that are taking place on the PIN pad, and any sensitive data is simply being routed directly to the payment processor without ever becoming visible to LS Pay. So in essence, the only thing that LS Pay receives is the result of that purchase request, and that response contains only non-sensitive data. So in summary, LS Pay simply never receives any sensitive data. Hence, we cannot store any sensitive data in our databases, and therefore there is simply no vulnerable payment data to be captured in a possible breach of any sort. And then last but not least, and just as we learned from Mark, now in a grocery setting, we often see a variety of devices running the point of sale. I mean, we have the standard checkout lanes with the traditional point of sale hardware. We have the self-checkout tills. We might have the point of sale running on payment terminals. We might have tablets, phones, and rugged devices enabling the soft POS or the tap to pay paradigm, and even stretching all the way to our Scan Pay Go application. And rest assured, LS Pay provides payment support for all the platforms that you can run our point of sale on, ensuring secure payments on all your platforms and devices.
Thank you all very much for attending. We're going to send out information shortly where you can access the recording. For the partners that have joined us today, that will also be available in the portal. So if you want to learn about any of these aspects from today, or if you've got any additional questions that you didn't quite think of at the time, please contact us through email or the website, and we'll be happy to continue the conversation. So once more, take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye for now. Thank you.